already.
It's been a bit of a morning for us, and we are going to get into you drawing in just a second, but we have had all sorts of tech troubles today, and so we apologize in advance should any craziness happen. We are working around it. We're getting quarantine creative today, and we are going to dive in with Mush, and we're going to be able to watch her create some of her amazing artwork from her Defects world. So Mush, what equipment are you working with today?
I have got my Wacom Intuos Pat. You can't see that. That's a silly thing.
I can hold up mine. I got you.
Yeah, got my little Wacom, and then it's just Clip Studio.
Nice.
That's all I work with. We're not fancy here.
That's okay. We do what we've got, right? I am so excited that we get to hang out because you've got the most gorgeous, glowy artwork like ever. So today, you've actually sketched out what you're drawing. You're ready to go with that, and we're going to jump into this phase beyond the initial sketch so that we're not spending a ton of time on this. So tell me what point we're jumping into for you.
Sketch is done. I have to start lining and then do all my coloring and all that.
Beautiful. Now, we are working with some tech issues today, and so we are going to be back and forth with the live screen and with Mush's beautiful face. And so we're going to dive in. If you've got art questions, now is a great time to get those out there for us. Go ahead and drop your questions down below, and we will answer as many as possible while we are on air. Mush, go ahead and show us what we're working on today.
Please work.
Okay, good. It's the anthem of today.
Yeah, you're having to see the mirror of the screen sharing on my second monitor. So you know what we're working with what we got here.
Exactly. I'm not in my normal setting either. There are people cutting trees directly outside of my house, so I went and hid in a corner. So we're doing what we got to do. So tell me what we're looking on for your drawing here.
I put up suggestions yesterday on Instagram, and one of my good followers has been following me for a while, Kayla, actually just said, what would Cade and Ellie be doing in quarantine? Which is perfect timing. So
perfect timing, yes.
So we've got Cade and Ellie playing with Leo, just kind of wasting the day away.
I love it. Oh, I love it. All right, so you've sketched this out. The next step is to do what?
Lining.
Beautiful. So let's do that. I am trying to grab this link to show that the people who were on the last one, and we got kicked off, but it is not cooperating. So here is hoping. I'm gonna text one of my assistants and have her help me. All right. So as you're lining, what is your typical process? What does this typically look like for you? How does this work?
Usually I do my sketch in a really rough pencil kind of brush because I just like how it looks. And then I go through for lining. I have a very special brush that I downloaded from the Clip Studio store, and I use it on a vector layer. And I just start lining everything in.
Nice. So, hello. We're so glad that you are starting to find us. Thank you so much for bearing with us through the tech issues. We are appreciative that you guys are here. If you've got questions for Mush, go ahead and drop those in the chat box. We would love to get them answered. And because we are having some tech issues today, we are bootstrapping this one a little bit. We're getting quarantine creative. So we will be back and forth seeing Mush and working on the drawing. So right now she is lining her quarantine-inspired drawing that you guys suggested yesterday. And Chelsea wants to know, do you use shapes when you are sketching?
Yes, I actually use, let me scroll out. No, let me actually make it where you can see it. I use a lot of circles. Circles are usually my thing for sketching out figures.
Okay.
And then just straight lines to use the skeletals for your connecting bones and whatnot.
Well, that's really fun. I always enjoy learning the artistic process. I am not an artist, so I feel like I'm learning quite a bit from all of you as we continue our live stream series. Mush is doing our very second episode of our live drawing series, which apparently is slightly cursed in the world of the technology life because we have had some tech issues with our last couple, but we're really excited that all of you are here. Please go ahead and let us know what questions you have for Mush and her drawing. We are working on lining the picture today. We're going to be doing some coloring, which I'm so excited about because Mush is always glowy and gorgeous and wonderful, and I'm just very excited to see how this is coming out. So if you got questions, now is a great time to get those in for us. And Mush, I know you've got a new episode coming out today, right?
Today.
That's exciting. What do we need to know?
Towards the end of it, well, not towards the all of it. You see two different types of Ellie today.
Ooh,
it's kind of this episode's kind of like 1 to 100 real quick.
Oh, that's so fun. I'm not caught up yet. I am working on it, but that sounds kind of awesome. Xandra, loving on the onesie. Fantastic. All right, friends, if you are joining us live, we would love for you to go ahead and let us know what your questions are. We're talking all things art, and if you've got questions about defects, we want you to hang on to those because in just a few weeks, Mush is actually going to be joining us for a brand new episode of the Toon Ladies Talk Show. In fact, over the next couple of weeks, we've got some major people joining us, and this is actually my first YouTube live stream since I made a big announcement on an upcoming guest. Mush, I don't know if you've seen this, but after your episode, we've got quite the person joining us. Have you heard about this yet?
The producer from Princess Swan. Yes.
Yes. I'm so excited.
That is one of my favorite movies growing up, so I am so excited.
I agree.
Like, just the animation itself is just,
Oh. I don't know how that movie wasn't Disney, like right on par with all the Disney stuff. I'm so excited. And he's going to come join us, which is so much fun. If you guys have not seen the promo graphic yet, which I dropped yesterday on Instagram Live, this man has a suit. It is pink and it's got the Swan Princess characters on it. And and you guys haven't seen this on the actual promo image, but the man has a matching car.
Oh, my Lord.
The picture he sent me is of him standing in front of this matching car. It is the best thing ever. I'm so excited to hang out with him.
That's just the type of extra I can only hope to achieve one day.
Well, I met my Disney animator friend 2 years ago when I was speaking at Mermagicon, and he's done The Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast, The Rescuers Down Under, a whole bunch of movies. But he had a custom-made suit built by one of the most popular designers in China create him a suit out of the stained glass from Beauty and the Beast. So the very first time I met him, he was in this amazing Beauty and the Beast suit. And so now Selden, who is the producer of The Swan Princess, has one for The Swan Princess, and I need to introduce these two men and just let them meet at some point in their movie suits. I just feel like it would be the best thing ever.
I love it so much.
Right? I am so excited. I asked him, I go, do you know each other? Like, can I introduce you? Because I just feel like it's going to be so dang fun. So we're going to work on that one. But it's actually interesting because we've got Philo Barnhart, the Disney animators, at the end of April, and then Selden Young, who is the Swan Princess producer, is the end of May. So we're wrapping up both of these months with amazing movie creators. I'm so excited for it. Jenna's in the comments and says, the pic of the car is magnificent. I know, girl. I know. I'm going to have to send that to you later, Mush, because it is.
Please do.
Actually, I wonder, I might be able to jerry-rig this so I can show you guys. Well, we don't want to wreck with our tech. I'll send it to you later. It's going to be lots of fun, though. Yeah, people are saying that you stream a lot on your Discord, too.
I do.
And
I used to stream on, like, Twitch and whatnot, but there was no one that ever came, so I was like, but some of my Discord people wanted to actually watch me draw. I was like, okay, sure. So it's kind of like not a super regular thing, but it's a fun thing to do in, like, evening or something.
Nice. It's a fun thing to do here on Toon Ladies as well when our technology cooperates, which apparently is not this week. But we're all very excited that you guys are here hanging out with us as we are creating, as Mush is creating a really gorgeous Defects picture. And we want to hear your questions or your comments, so go ahead and jump into our chat box right now. Jenna wants to know, what pen are you using right now?
It is in Japanese. Hang on. Nope, that's not working. Yeah, it's in Japanese, but if you want the pen, I can definitely send it to you.
That's so funny. See, that's the benefits of being friends. You can just send each other equipment that you need. It's great.
It's basically like a really extreme, smooth kind of G pen with a little bit more elongated tails on either end, I believe. I
Nice.
think that's what they use to like edit it and make it. I just randomly found it one day. I was like, I'm just trying to find something that was smooth but wasn't quite as clunky as the G pen. I randomly found this and I've been using it for like a year now. So
Nice. I do a little bit of work in Photoshop. I'm a photographer and I'm a graphic designer. So what I do is not what you do, but when I do have to draw things in Photoshop, I find it's really hard to find a pen that is not like jagged edged. It just doesn't come out smooth, which May was actually teaching me in our last drawing episode that there's a stabilizer in Clip Studio that Photoshop does not have.
I have my stabilization all the way up because I got some real shaky hands.
See, that's what I need. I need to invest in Clip Studio. Not that I draw very often, but you know, I need to learn how to draw so I can draw some of my book characters, because at this point I can't be waiting around for people to draw 100 of my characters. So I need to get myself on that and learn how to do that. Saku, sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly, wants to know, how long does line art take you in general?
Depends on what it is. For something simple like just a shoulders up, not that long. But something like this will probably take me a good 15, 20 minutes. Usually, though, I'm able to thank the Webtoon lords with all their little fun things they have for canvas creators. My chapters usually are like at least 70% sent off to someone else to actually line them because it takes so long.
Ooh, that's neat. I keep learning about all the fun little things that they have for you guys, and I love learning new bits and pieces of that, so I appreciate that. And if you've got questions, guys, if you're joining us, we would love to get your questions answered. Speaking of really great artwork from Mush, if you have not heard, I got a little something for you, which I don't think I actually put in here. Nope, that was great. I'm so prepared. So let's just back up, friends, because we're having a discussion here. So if it could have gone wrong today, for both of us, it has gone wrong. And so,
Murphy.
Oh, cute. So we've had a lot of tech issues today. I am currently huddled on the balcony of the stairs in my house, not in my office, because people are felling trees right outside of my house, and it's very, very loud. So I don't have access to my stuff, but you need to know that Mush has created a stunning, amazing, glorious wallpaper for us, and it's coming out tomorrow in our Toon Ladies newsletter. So every single Saturday, we are dropping all of the latest Toon World news, breaking reports that you need to know about. We're doing exclusive interviews with both authors and characters from inside of stories, and giving away exclusive swag, meaning a wallpaper for you guys, and you can get it for free by going to newsletter.toonladies.com. and you can grab access to that. Mush's is coming out tomorrow. We've got a great interview with some fun facts and that exclusive wallpaper. And then the following week, we're going to be hanging out with May Rothschild of Brimstone and Roses. And then we've got some really cool people planned for the following weeks as well. So get yourself signed up. It's going to be lots and lots of fun. Jenna is supporting the wallpaper, saying it's so cute because I created my pretty overlay to show it to you guys and then didn't transfer it before I had to come up here to the staircase balcony. Oh, it's been a morning. It's been such a morning. So tell me what we're working on right now. What part is this?
I'm still lining, but we're working on Leo right now.
Aw, that's so cute. I love it. If you've got questions, if you've got comments, now is a great time to get those dropped in there. We're talking all things art today. And Mush will be back, I want to say, the third week in May, third Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern. We are going live with Mush to talk all about defects and answer your questions live on air. So today we're trying to keep to the art questions. So now's the time to get those in there. But it's kind of a lot of Mush in the next couple of days and months because we're doing all the fun things with all the fun people. So let us know, guys, what questions do you have? We appreciate each and every one of you being here and joining us live. I know you had to find the new stream because the old stream broke, but we're really excited that you are here. So let's talk a little bit about your art process. What does this typically look like for you, Mush?
Usually for chapters, I'll take like 2-3 days at most to sketch out the entire chapter. I send, depending on how busy my week is, like outside of comics, I'll send a chunk of it off to my little beautiful, wonderful line artist, and then I'll line some of it myself. And then once I have all the line art back in, I go ahead and start going panel by panel and coloring and rendering, and then slap it on the actual page that has to go to Crappie to be cut.
Interesting. So how many panels do you typically put within an episode of your series?
I stay between 43 and like 50.
Okay.
For a weekly update.
Interesting. And you do go live, or somebody messaged me the word live. You do drop a new episode every single week, which is really awesome, especially because you are not under contract as an original. So that's a lot of time and effort. How much time do you actually spend per episode, would you guess?
I work 70 hours a week.
That's a lot.
It is. It is.
And of course, other things during the week as well. So that's a big commitment.
Yeah, I also have to play mom with kiddos and therapies and whatnot. So 2 out of the 7 days, I'm not even in the house for half the day. So.
Wow. So you cram in 70 hours on this plus all that without using 2 days. That's pretty dang good.
Yup. I don't sleep.
Which is why every time I talk to you, it's like 3 a.m. for you. Or I sleep up to 3 a.m. I used to do that back in the day, not so much anymore.
My body's been used to it for the last 7 or so years because I was an art kid in college and I worked 3 jobs to get myself through. So my body is used to not sleeping.
Oh, that is not a healthy thing, friend.
It really is not. It really is not. But I work with what I got.
Yep, that's what you got to do at this point. That is what you got to do. And you've actually created, quite a following for yourself as they're jumping in. I see people are jumping in. Hey, friends, if you got questions, hit up the chat box right now. We are working on some weird tech issues, so we are just going with what we got. So if you want to see Mush's face at some point, just be like, hey, turn the camera around, and we'll pause and do a face reveal. Jenna says she loves the maniacal laugh when she gets asked how many hours she works a week. Yeah.
Laugh through the pain, Timmy.
Oh, gosh. No. Oh, man, that's a lot to work on, though. And you put so much effort into this, and you've built quite the following. And I know you've got people who like to come and hang out with you. So what do people need to know about your Discord, just like real fast, in case people want to come hang out with you?
Discord, I put a lot of announcements in there. I usually, sometimes I'll host like events, like Discord only had a chance to win my steampunk print that I got done, that I did for reaching over 100K subscribers. My lord, my words are not working today.
I know, it's that day. It is that day.
It's a day, and I'm always in there. I never leave. I usually hang out and like swamp for the most part, but if you want to just hop into actual general and just chat, I'll chat up with you. I'm always in VC somewhere. I'm actually relatively pretty active within my Discord because I like hanging out with everyone.
I mean, you can find. And I pop in every once in a while, and I see you chatting.
Oh God! that day you came in,
Woo! That was a day.
That was a day. I know they're watching too, and I scolded them like an angry mother.
That's so funny. No, they went all out for me. It was quite the welcome.
I was sitting there eating dinner when you popped in, and I got tagged, and I was like, I'm trying to keep up with Discord, and I ended up dropping like some orange chicken on my phone. I was just so upset.
That's so funny. Hi, friends. Thanks so much for joining. Emma, hello. Jordan, hello.
Hello, those are my crackheads. Hello, children. I love you.
Oh, it looks like they received a print and it looks so good. So there you go. I don't know if they're talking about you or about something else. I think they're having a conversation in our chat box, but that's cool. This is, you know what? Quarantine creative today, friends. Quarantine creative. How are you getting creative during quarantine? Please let us know. We are bootstrapping today's live broadcast. We had our technology not work. We had our original live stream go live and then get kicked off, so we had to start a new one. It's just been a little bit of the disastrous side of things, but we're still going. Right now, we're live streaming to you from Mush's cell phone facing her computer screen because that's what we have to do to make things happen for you guys. See what we do for you? You're welcome. Let us know, guys. If you've got art questions for Mush, now is a fantastic time to let us know what those are. We would love to get those answered for you. Right now, we're working on line art, and then we're going to jump into doing coloring. Is that where we're going? Are we jumping into coloring when you're done with the lines? Okay. I don't know the art terms. I'm starting to learn them from everyone. But I'm trying to get the appropriate ones in the appropriate order because I'm brand new to art speak, which is so much fun, guys. If you're an artist, please let us know. Let us know how your artwork is going. And if you've got questions for Mush, now is a great time to get those in here. They are talking about your print. Whatever print you have sent out, they got it and they love it.
Oh, yeah, the steampunk one.
Oh, beautiful, which I actually have pulled up on my phone. And from your Instagram page, I'm showing people, because I know you're drawing and you can't see, but it's beautiful and gorgeous, and I was definitely staring at this. And I 100% have a steampunk novel. You guys know I'm a best-selling young adult novelist. And so I've got a steampunk novel. It's a retelling of Aladdin that is steampunk. And I just kept staring at it, and I'm like, can I steal those costumes for my characters?
Pinterest is a wonderful place.
Jordan says Mush coloring is so calming. Yeah, coloring's great.
Yeah. Jordan's always online in the Discord and she's always watching.
Well, hey, Jordan.
Creepy.
Well, no creepier than me popping into your Discord and just kind of seeing what people are talking about without speaking. So you're good.
It's probably a safe bet because if you appear like visually, it's done. We're done.
If I let them know I'm there.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I feel like at some point, not today, I learned my lesson last time, but at some point I'm going to pop in and just be like, hey guys, we'll see what happens. This is very interesting what you're doing right now. Can you explain this to me? Because this is interesting.
Okay, so I do eyes very differently. Usually, even when I send my line art off to my line artist, I tell them do not touch the eyes because everyone does their eyes differently. I actually have the curve tool to where you can drag it and then move it back and forth. And that's how I do all of their eyes.
Wow. I can't do that in Photoshop. Not like that. Man, I do need to invest in this thing. Wow. This is really interesting. Guys, let us know. Are you loving this? And do you use tools like this when you are drawing as well? I know Jenna is here hanging out with us from Enjoy the Show over on Webtoon. Let me know. Is this something that you do as well? I feel like I'm going to have to go back and watch some of these things and just I'm going to get a full art education from this series. I'm just going to pick up on the little things that each of you do and implement it into my own non-existent art. Oh, such a cute kitty. We're getting some fun comments inside of our chat box. Friends, ask us some questions. Get some conversation going over here. Whatever's happening, this is very interesting. I feel like I'm going to talk about this one later. How is your line art going? Is this working well?
Yes, all I have to do is put the eyeballs in and then we'll get started on actual coloring.
Fantastic. I'm excited to learn about your coloring technique because I know you do flat coloring first and then you do shading and then other stuff. I'm making this up. I'm not an artist.
No, you're right. Yep, that's pretty much.
Yeah, I'm right. Fantastic. I'm learning things. I can get in and have conversations about Photoshop technical speak. I can talk about photo composition and doing all sorts of interesting things over there. But when it comes to drawing, I am just kind of making things up and parroting words that I've heard. And if I'm right, that's fantastic, but also I don't know. Lots of love for Leo in the comments as well. That was satisfying to watch, Emma says. Ooh, man, this is a cool program. I feel like that because you're able to kind of work with some of these curvy things, that makes that time go a lot quicker than if you had to hand draw all of that. I'm just overly impressed with how many tools this program gives you. And I assume as you're doing this, you're creating these lines all on separate layers so that should you mess something up, you don't have to redo a ton of work, right?
Yeah, I have the main line art on a separate layer and the eyes on a different layer, and then I combine them when it's done.
Okay. So you are someone that does combine your layers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, as much as I do for, like, lighting and stuff, I have to cut layers where I can.
See,
I do know some artists, like, have separate for, like, skin layer, hair layer, like, eye layer. Nope. Not me.
As a photographer, as I'm building composite photographic images where I'm taking images from like 100 different photos and putting them in to build a new scene, I keep all of my layers separate because if I don't, I have so much trouble fixing things if I made an error. So I hear that everyone's like, I'm combining my layers, and panic is just radiating in my head. Oh, look at his little expression. That's so cute. If you are joining us live, thank you so much for being here. We are more than happy to answer your art questions with MushMello of Defects. Go ahead and get into our chat box right now and drop those questions for us. Mush will be joining us in a few weeks on the Toon Ladies Talk Show every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern, and we will be talking all about defects. So today we're keeping our questions on the art side of things, and in a couple of weeks we are going to be asking questions about her actual story. And if you want bonus content, Mush is actually being featured inside of our Toon Ladies newsletter tomorrow. You can go over to newsletter.toonladies.com and get yourself signed up because she is giving away an exclusive, super swoony wallpaper within the Toon Ladies newsletter, as well as an exclusive interview. And we've got all sorts of breaking news and fun bonus content for you. So make sure that you are joining us, newsletter.toonladies.com. The following week, we're going to be giving away a wallpaper and interview from May of Brimstone and Roses, and then we've got some really cool people lined up for you after that as well. I would love for you to come and join us. All right, let's check back in with Mush. What are you working on now?
Word coloring.
Which is so exciting. Are you adding a gradient to this?
For Kate's hair specifically, yeah, it's a light blonde, like a dirty blonde on top of it.
Gotcha.
For some reason, whenever I was creating him, I just didn't like the look of just straight blonde on him, so I do a gradient on his hair alone.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Jenna is in our comments saying Mush's line work is so clean. She might have to try it later today. Oh, because I didn't read her previous comment where she says that she does not use the curve tool. She's traditionally trained and some habits die hard, and there are still a lot of features that she needs to explore in Click Studio Pro. Yeah. Maddie would like to know, have you ever forgotten a layer? I forget all the time and it messes up bad.
Oh, yeah. My big thing is whenever I'm like in a dark scene, like this last episode that I did, the backgrounds are mostly black because they, or dark times, nighttime, my lord. But for some of my effects, I have the add glow layer on. So whenever I like mush them together to actually put them over as onto the actual long format, if I don't have a bottom layer that is black as well, it messes the colors up. So I have to add in an extra layer of black underneath everything for it to look the same.
That makes sense. Yeah. Opacity and all of those like colors and the fun, fabulous things can definitely get messed up if you don't have a solid layer underneath them. Mm-hmm. And I love that you make sure all of your lines are connected so that you can just kind of fill in that color and you don't have to paint it by hand, which is something I occasionally struggle with.
Oh, yeah, no, I never, like, actually get my lines completely put together. I find out later when the whole canvas is the same color.
Yes, exactly. That's the problem. And I do see that you've got specific colors there on a color palette layer. So this is the second document you've got up. You just click between them. You use your color picker tool, I would assume, and then you just use that color where you need it. So explain to me how you've set up your palette to be most effective for you.
By character, I just have their hair, their skin, and their eyes, and then some of the characters, or all of the characters, have like that add glow in it that has that gradient in their eyes, so I have that little extra bit. Ellie doesn't have one because her green is already on like the, what is it called? The default palette, and then Zari doesn't have one either because her inner glow is actually Ellie's hair color.
Ah, nice.
So, yeah. But yeah, it's all their skin, their hair, their eyes, and the little glow in their eyes as well.
Okay. Very interesting.
I forgot to grab her hair color.
We're so busy chatting, you know.
Oh, see?
Ooh, look at that.
Got to close the line.
I love that was such an easy fix, though.
Mm-hmm. Just quick.
Nice. So now, when you first started creating these characters, did you go through different hair colors, different eye colors, different styles? Did it take you a while to develop what they looked like, or was that something you knew right off the bat?
Ellie was pretty much right off the bat. Cade was actually named Gabriel at one point, and he was, his skin color was like a really muddy color. It wasn't like, it was kind of a weird color, but I couldn't get him how I liked him. So when I was recreating characters or going over them, I happened to be binging My Hero Academia. So that's where his colors may have come from.
Ah, gotcha.
But I think the one who went through the most change is probably Lady Odessa. She started off as like a really pale white woman with white hair and purple eyes, and now she is this like Native American goddess. So
that's cool. Now, how did you go through that transition? Did she have like a number of different looks, or was that kind of a quick changeover once you decided to change?
It was a quick change because I have 9 Valases that and I want all of them to be from like different, I guess, cultures. So each culture would have like some kind of representation.
Okay.
Because we want to be inclusive of everyone here.
Well, we love representation. Always a good thing. If you are joining us live, we would love to get your questions answered. Go ahead and drop those over into our chat box. And while you're here, we need you to do us a little bit of a favor. We want to make sure that we are getting as much reach as possible here on YouTube as we are doing these live broadcast events. So we need you to jump down into the comments, not just the chat box, but in the comments, and leave some comment love as well. Make sure you're clicking that like button so that YouTube knows we're doing something good, something awesome over here. And of course, we need you to share this with your friends. If you have friends who are not here hanging out at the party, now is the time. Go ahead and hit that share button so that people can come join us while we are live on air and ask their questions too. You are on a replay. We still want to hear from you. Go ahead and get into our comments if you're on the replay and drop your questions or your comments, because Mush is coming back on the show in just a couple of weeks for her episode of the Toon Ladies Talk Show, where we will be answering questions all about defects, but we can get your art questions answered then as well. And of course, we keep telling you, but we're just that excited about it. We are going to be having Mush on the newsletter tomorrow, and you can get exclusive access to an incredibly gorgeous wallpaper from Mush, featuring her amazing lead characters from Defects, and you can grab that by going to newsletter.toonladies.com. And hey, while you're at it, take a screen grab, share us on social media, give us a tag, and let people know we're here hanging out. All right, so we are jumping back into continuing our paint work. What colors are we thinking for outfits today, Mush?
Ellie's wearing a Goose onesie, so probably something softer to match with Cade. He usually looks good in like a nice soft tan, probably.
Okay. Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow, he does. I love the nice soft pastel-y look to this whole thing right now.
I'm so sorry if you guys hear that dog barking.
What was that?
I'm so sorry if you guys hear that dog barking.
We do, and that's okay. I've got 3 dogs, so I completely understand. Emma is sending out link to Discord. Yay! Bring friends. We like it when they come and hang out with us. I like the color that you chose for that. That's cute. Oh, that's adorable. So explain the whole goose onesie to me. Why are we going with this?
Okay, so the goose thing is kind of a meme in the Discord. I don't play favorites like a good mother, but I definitely have my favorites. Also like a mother. And one of my friends in the Discord named John, back when we just started like actually hanging out like as a Discord together, he ended up playing Untitled Goose Game. And everything he said was just wholesome and great. So the goose of the chat became a meme. So now we have geese just everywhere in Discord at this point.
That's so funny. I love it. I love it. I love that you've got all of these fun running jokes inside of your Discord and that your fans kind of rally around them. That's a lot of fun. So now, is this a little cat toy that we're looking at on screen?
Yeah. Trying to figure out colors for it.
Ooh, I like that. It's a nice pop against the other colors, I think. Everyone's saying I am goose in the comments.
Yep. I honk, I silly. That's our thing. Grown man just playing this game. I honk, I silly. So that's where the meme started.
That's so funny. I feel like you should just randomly sprinkle that throughout your Instagram and just see what happens.
I definitely have put Easter eggs from like our memes on Discord into the chapters, and John himself is in last chapter actually.
Oh, that's so fun!
As a background character.
That's hilarious. I always like when authors are like inserting some of their fans into the story as background characters. I feel like it's really fun to see that. Do you tell them when you're going to do that, or is it kind of a surprise?
I tell them sometimes because sometimes it's hard to see.
Okay.
But for the most part, I just kind of let them do it and let them find it. But that one was just too funny. I had to share it with him and the rest of the gang.
That's hilarious. I love it. I feel like now I want to just like sometime over the next couple of days just kind of pop some goose things onto the Toon Ladies platform. So friends, if you're hanging out with me and following, keep an eye out. Things might just happen. Wow, that just got very detailed.
Oh yeah, the background from his apartment that I made in SketchUp.
Nice. So now that's interesting. You've told us about this before when you were a guest at Toon Ladies Virtual Con a few weeks ago. So talk to me a little bit more about this program, because I know you can design buildings in it, but like I didn't realize you could do interiors and things. So what all does this program do?
Okay, so SketchUp is mostly like the professional side is used for actual like architecture and architects making buildings, and they're planning to build them. So it does outside, it does exterior, interior. You can make objects. It's mostly a 3D program, but when you go to like export an image or whatnot, you can make it a flat image to where you just have backgrounds. But yeah, all of my sets now are made in SketchUp because I can spend 4 hours and then use it for everything later.
Yeah, that's awesome. So who do you recommend that for in terms of people who are getting into designing webcomics? Do you recommend it for beginners? Is it more something you need to have a little more experience? I believe it's a program that costs money. So
nope, it's free.
Oh, it's free?
It's free. You have to look up specifically for Sketch Makeup 2017. Do not use the web browser one. It's garbage. But Sketch Makeup 2017 is what I use. It's free. You can use it for whoever you want to learn how to use it. I have figured out a way to let me merge these layers together. Make it to where that was the wrong button. All of my colors are flat, so there's no shadows on. I can put my own shadows in it, But if this isn't your style and you need more for the line art, there's an option just for strictly line art as well, to where you can put your own colors and everything in it.
Wow. Okay, so another thing that I'm going to have to look into. That's really cool. I'm going to ask you to DM me the name of that later, because I'm going to do all the research and see if I can end up as an affiliate for some of these places. Oh, people have not been sleeping this evening. I'm sorry, guys, that you were joining us on very little sleep. That's okay. Leave some questions about Mush's art in the comments in the chat box over to the side of the live stream so that we can get your questions answered while we're live and hanging out. And it looks like you're wrapping up your coloring, right?
Yeah, just gotta add the last few details in there.
Nice. Oh, we're getting lots of love for the program, saying it's very fun. You use Sketchup on your engineering work. Wow, nice. That's very cool. I love that you're adding in like strands of hair after the fact, so it's kind of like that naturally look to it.
Mm-hmm.
How do you go about doing those extra strands? Because I see you've laid them down and now you're, erasing parts of them?
Yeah. I make an extra layer. Oh, Lord. And there's an option up here for border effect where it will line it with whatever color you want. So I lay them in, and then I merge the layer with like a blank layer so that when I erase it, it actually erases and not just try and make a new border on it.
That's so... Wow, I've got a lot to learn about this program, and I clearly need to get this program because it does stuff Photoshop will not do or does really, really time-consumingly. This is fantastic. Now I see why you guys use this. Oh, okay. Well, people love you in the comments. You're getting lots and lots of love. Lighting is IALS. Sorry, Boo. I think I messed up your name. Ayla's favorite part. It's her favorite part. Tell me how to pronounce your name, Boo Boo. So Jordan would like to know, Mush, of all of your characters, whose color palette is your favorite?
I think my favorite color palette to use is probably Nan, because hers is really warm, but also like even her purples that are in like her eyes and stuff are like a warm tone.
I'm a big fan of like warmer colors, especially when it comes to artwork, so that's pretty neat. Mush, I love the magical strands of hair. Which of your characters is the hardest to draw, Grace would like to know?
I don't know, but hardest, but most time-consuming maybe is Jake because of his dreads. Because I use set like a million separate layers for each dread, the same way I do the hair strands.
Now, do you draw that by hand or do you have a brush?
I draw it by hand.
Oh wow! I was talking to, I have no idea. In my Discord we were having a conversation about it, and they were suggesting to have a brush if you've got a lot of like really intense dread hair. So that's really interesting that you draw it all by hand. Is that really, well, clearly it's going to be time consuming, but how long does that typically take you?
But it's Jake, just for his hair alone, is probably a good solid 30 minutes. I have a brush, but it's just for like the shape of it. I have to actually like physically do it by hand. I can't just done.
Right. Oh, everyone is looking forward to the lighting.
Yes.
You do magical things with color dodge.
I do. Oh, glow dodge. That's the big one.
Glow dodge. Oh, nice. Nice. I'm excited. I always love how glowy your artwork looks. Emma would like to know, who's your favorite gift or power? So who has your favorite gift or power inside of your story?
She hasn't been introduced yet. But one of the Valases has a very different kind of affinity and ability that she can do. But for characters that have been introduced, honestly, pretty simple. I really like Zari because she's just so strong. I like strong people. They're fun to do.
They are, right? I enjoy writing my strong characters as well, so I totally feel that one. People are loving on the print that you have sent out, hearing that you are the lighting god, and lots of people are jumping in, sharing the love for your artwork right now. And they're also saying that the swamp is a cult.
Yep. Okay. Well, that's fair.
I feel like that's fair. The one time I hung out, I got you. Oh, goodness. If you've got questions, if you've got comments, now is a great time to drop those in there. We're going to get as many answers while we are live as possible. And we are overcoming all of our fun technology issues today, and we're really excited that you have joined us and found our stream now that we got kicked off of our first one. We're breaking YouTube today, friends, and we need your help to break it even more. Go ahead and hit that like button, hit the share button, and leave us some comments, not just in the chat, but like down in the actual comments, so that YouTube knows we're doing some cool things over here and kicks us out to more people to come and join us while we're live or on the replay. Cody is joining us, just woke up and has seen the broadcast. We're excited that you are here joining us, Cody. Elle says, Mush, do you snack while you draw, or do you get up and eat in other places?
I eat to stay awake at this point.
See,
yeah, I'll have like a little snack here and there.
It terrifies me to have food around my technology. Are you someone who's terrified, or are you just like, whatever?
Liquid's terrified. Food, not so much.
I always worry. I'm so protective over my technology, but that's okay. Some people can do it. I try not to. I mean, I do it, but I try not to. Let's see. So we've actually talked a little bit about how long it takes you to be creating your panels before, but let's talk about it again. As you're creating your panels, how long does this take you? And then put it in perspective, because we want to know how many panels you're doing per episode, which then translates into how much time you're actually spending per week working on a single episode.
What's that noise? Lord, words work. So for 2 or 3 days at most on sketching it out, getting it lined if I need the extra help, and then usually, since the lining part is actually the part that takes the longest for me, because I just have really unsteady hands, even with the stabilizer. Usually a good 30 minutes, like an hour per panel, depending on how like complex and how much like extra lighting I have to put into it. And then it's usually between 43 to like 50 panels per episode for a week. And then in between that, I also do writing as I'm like, I'll take a break, give my hand a break from actually drawing and start writing some more. So it's usually about altogether 70 hours a week of just working on Defects.
Which is so much time. So much effort. It's just one of those days. How many dogs do you have?
I have 2, and they're both outside. And one's losing their mind over a cat. So,
what breeds do you have?
I have a German Shepherd and Chocolate Lab mix, and then I have a German Shepherd and Wolf mix.
Oh, wow. Big dogs.
Yeah, both rescued. My babies.
Aww, very nice. I've got 2 English Springer Spaniels who are biological sisters, 1 litter apart, and then a little Pomeranian, which is a Pomeranian Papillon mix, a little yappy fuzzball. Elle says that her biggest achievement in her drawing career is drawing clothes on her stick figures. I'm with you, boo. People are just jumping in. We're so excited to see all of you. We are hanging out with MushMello of Defects, and she is drawing a stunning graphic on what her characters will be doing in quarantine right now. We're working on coloring it in, and then we're going to do all the fun things with the coloring in just a moment. But if you've got questions, if you've got comments, now is a great time to drop those in. We are going to be featuring Mush on our newsletter tomorrow. It's an exclusive interview with Mush, and we are giving away an exclusive wallpaper that you cannot find anywhere else inside of the Toon Ladies newsletter. You can actually go over to newsletter.toonladies.com to get signed up now. Every single Saturday morning, we are dropping breaking Toon World news, doing exclusive interviews with authors. We are doing exclusive interviews with characters. We're giving away swag every single week in the form of cell phone wallpaper, and we're actually planning on doing some cool physical swag giveaways in the not too distant future. So you want to get yourself on our newsletter.toonladies.com for more. So right now I see that you are working on what I assume is going to be your shading. So tell us how that process works for you.
I pick a dark purple or a dark blue depending on the time of day of the actual like scene. Because back to color theory, when your shadows and painting and whatnot, if you paint a shadow that the scene is like during the day, it's usually a blue. And you know, you're a photographer, you know the magic hour for when you're shooting. Yeah, those are purples towards the sunset and all that. So I use dark purples or dark blues, or if it's like a mood kind of thing, just a darker version of said color that's overall. Never use black to shade. It flattens the image completely.
Interesting. Very interesting. I feel like I'm learning quite a bit from you today, which I absolutely love because I'm not an artist, but I need to learn to be. So that's really cool. Do you keep it with this intense color, or do you lower the opacity later on?
I lower the opacity later on. Okay. No, I just do it like this so I can see what I'm doing for now.
I'm like, this looks very interesting, and this is a very intense and bold take on this one. Are we leaving it like this? Hey guys, if you're just jumping in, we are super excited to see you. Go ahead and leave us some love in the chat box right now and let us know what you're looking forward to seeing most in upcoming episodes of Defects. No spoilers. But go ahead and let us know what you'd love to see. We would love to hear from you. I am not up to date, so if you're in it for me, we're going to have words. They do want to know, which was somewhere, and I don't know where it went. They wanted to know, how far ahead are you with plotting your story?
Plotting, the entire first season's done. Writing is a different story. But yeah, the entire first season has been plotted out, and then the second season, I have the beginning and I have the end of it, and I have different plot points within there that I need to actually like settle in and kind of like meander my way through to get to them. But yeah, I have the entire story itself done in my head.
That's awesome. So you know how many episodes you're going to have then?
Not exactly. I don't have as many episodes like in-game goal, but I think the first season should be about around 120 maybe. Okay. Maybe a little bit more.
What episode are you on now?
Today's chapter is 56, but written chapters, I'm at 93.
Oh, okay. You're like ahead. That's fantastic. Apparently people were interviewing you the other day as well. That's exciting. And people are loving on Cade. Very excited for Cade. All right, friends, if you've got questions, if you've got comments, we would love to hear from you. Now is a great time to drop those into the chat box for us. We're working on shadows right now, which I love. Do you always start with your shadows first and then you add in your highlights later?
Yep.
Is there a particular reason for that, or is it just kind of your process?
I think it's just my process, honestly. Because if I can... The way I do lighting is I make the light source or whatever, so the light source itself is going to be coming from the window. So what I do here instead is this layer that I'm doing is actually going to be just lighter, just enough to give it like a little bit of body, and then the major shadow from the light will be on a different layer. So this is actually, I have two separate kind of shadows going into this.
Okay.
But once you put the shadows in, then you can like see where the highlights can like shine the best. That's just how I do it anyway.
That's how I do it too with my photography. When I am adding in lighting effects, I always do my shadows first, and then I bring in my highlights. This is such a fun process to watch. I love just kind of watching you create the lines and do the things that you're doing, and I feel like I get distracted sometimes and don't remember to talk. So guys, give us some things to talk about in the chat box. We would love to hear from you guys. And Mush, I want to know, do you have any tips for aspiring artists?
Usually just the same advice that you give people that, you've seen the meme of how do you learn how to draw, and they just give you a high five and you continue to drown. But yeah, you can't stop. You literally have to keep doing it. I know it's the dumbest thing. You're tired of hearing it, but it's true. Because I started drawing when I was like 12, maybe, when I started taking it more like as like a serious kind of hobby for me. But I only recently learned how to do everything digitally, and I went from like really crappy to like this in like the course of a year and a half.
Wow. I've heard it takes 10,000 hours to become a master at something. And so the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. And I know the advice of just keep going tends to sound a little overdone, but really it comes down to being very, very true, because if you're not putting in that practice time and that effort, it's just not going to happen for you.
Oh, yeah. I, after college, I didn't pick up a pen or anything to draw for like 4 years, and then I went straight to digital when I wanted to do Defects, and that was a learning process, and everything I did was just, really bad. But once I started doing it again, my hands started getting used to it again. It came a lot more easily, and then just learning programs in general. Also, yeah, if you have a good program, take the time and learn how to like operate it, because that will save you some time and headache. And the less headache you have, the more time you will be able to enjoy what you're doing and actually be able to focus on learning new techniques and whatnot.
I agree. I know with me, I use Photoshop, and there's a steep learning curve with that one. So it takes you a minute to learn how to do it, but once you do, you can do all the magical things, and it's so easy and wonderful. But if you don't take the time to actually learn all of the tools, you will just continue to struggle and have to learn new things as you go, and it's not helpful at all. So learning it up front, definitely a good choice. Talk to me a little bit about the shadows you're creating on his face here, because right now he looks like an adorable little puppy or a panda or like something really cute. So tell me how this works for you. Oh, that's fun.
It's because the lighting, so it's where it has. I never actually like. People ask me, how do you know about how to do your light sources and stuff? I was like, I don't know. I just kind of guesstimate, and it works out. But if you really want to learn how to do it, I highly suggest doing like light studies. You can usually find just really great lit pictures on like Instagram too, like Pinterest or whatnot, and literally just try and copy what you see. And the more you do it, the more you will be able to like kind of guesstimate your own thing on where to put things. But like I said, right now I'm putting in that layer that's just going to be really light and you can barely see it, but it's just enough to ground them to the bed.
So I'm going to jump in here and I'm going to add, if you are looking to study lighting and shadows and highlights and all those fun things, in the photography world, we have so many resources on that. You can look things up on YouTube. You can, of course, check Pinterest. And then there are educational sites who have both free and paid courses. And so I'm going to give you guys a really, really good website. Listen closely to this one. There's a website called creativelive.com, and they stream 24 hours a day. And if you watch while they're live streaming, and they do put on some rebroadcasts of old classes, you can do it for free. You can watch their entire courses for free, or you can pay and actually get the courses, and you can go through these light studies. And a ton of my photographer friends and mentors and people that I've worked with in the industry for years have taught classes specifically on lighting, where light sources are, how they change the way people look, how you can kind of define a person's facial structure by the lighting. There's so much you can learn from this. So I would go over to the website creativelive.com and just look for when they're going to be putting those classes up for free next, or invest in the course and actually learn from them, because photographers are like no other when it comes to teaching you how to use lighting, because it's so important to our careers. And it's going to be very, very helpful if you are studying lighting and how that works. So just shout out for that. We are hanging out in the comments. People are saying that's a lot of lines that you are creating right now. Yeah, it's a lot of work, right? People are very excited for your upcoming episodes. Cody's excited for the evil side of Cade. That sounds fun. Is that coming?
Maybe.
Oh, this is exciting. Okay, so I'm not up to date. I'm just like listening to things that are coming, and now I'm very, very interested in like knowing what's going on. This is so fun. So tell me what you're working on right now. You're kind of working on those shadows around her hair. How does that typically work for you?
I used to be really detailed in like the hair, and then realized it was very time consuming, so I like kind of stopped. And what detail there is just in random like clumps of shadows instead. But basically just kind of putting in where you would have like detailed lines or something, just a little, oh look, there's a little spot where there could be heavier pieces of hair, whatnot.
Gotcha. Very interesting. I like that you're defining the hair like right along the bottom. That's really pretty. As I'm like leaning in trying to look at all your detail work. I'm over here, I'm like, I'm just watching all the fun things. I don't realize how I'm looking on camera. It's okay. People are supposed to be taking tests right now and watching us instead. That's okay. Priorities, right? Priorities. Well, listen, make sure you get your test done at some point today. If it's like one of those tests you have to take right now, please make sure you go do that. You can watch the replay later. But if you can take it later today, that's okay. Hang out with us. We're more fun. So what are you doing right now? I'm seeing your marching ants.
I am, oh God, that was aggressive. I am putting them in the space with a little bit of controlled lighting. So that when I do the highlights and stuff, it's not everyone is just washed out and bright.
Gotcha.
And then I adjust it as I go. Let me go ahead and throw in some actual like lighting back here though real quick so I know what I'm doing. And then my favorite color to use,
which we actually talked about in your interview for the newsletter that comes out tomorrow. If you guys want to learn a little bit more about the colors that Mush is choosing and all sorts of fun questions that we asked, you can go over to newsletter.toonladies.com. That's coming up first thing in the morning. And dang, that really is a cool color to use, huh?
I use it for everything.
That's neat. So I like that you're just kind of doing this in little like circular bursts and building it out from there. Huh. And that
Something
really
I also like to
the whole look of the image too.
Something else I like to do, let me get a weird color so I can actually see what I'm doing. To separate the background from the foreground, I go ahead and basically just kind of mark where it is. That way when I go to select this color, it'll only select one part of the background so I can blur and whatnot what I need to.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Jenna says she's trying to get her kids to do her homework because she's homeschooling right now during quarantine. Are you also homeschooling your children, and how do you still crank out as many episodes as you do?
My kids are only 5 and 2 right now. My oldest is actually still in therapy right now. My oldest is actually on the autism spectrum.
Okay.
So he is actually spending his entire days at behavior therapy, which he is in love with, and it gets him out of my house all day. Now, the 2-year-old is always ready to square up with me, so that's the one I have to battle during the day.
That's so funny.
But Dad's also home right. He's able to work from home right now too, so he kind of helps where he can.
Well, that's always nice. So at this point, do you have a specific schedule for your art? Do you typically start at a certain time and work to a certain hour, or is it kind of when you can fit it in? Do you have that kind of carved out work time for you, or what does that look like on a typical day or typical week for you?
For right now, I work what I can during like the actual day when my daughter's awake, because she decides on when I can actually work. And then usually after dinner we get in bed and they go to bed, and that's when I really start working. So between like 6:30 to like 2 or 3 a.m. is when I get most of my work done.
Those are just such terrible work hours. I don't know how you do it.
I know. I do what I can, though. I'm trying here.
Well, I was talking to you the other day, and you were working, and you said you had so much work to do, and I'm like, but I'm going to bed now, so I was
Good luck.
Yeah, I'm not a night person. I'm a morning person. I would rather get up at 4 a.m. and do work than stay up late. So the fact that you choose to stay up and get that done, that is impressive to me.
Or just really foolish.
Also,
Let's be honest here.
I mean, I wasn't going to say it, but yeah. So these lines that you're creating now are shadows within the curtains?
Yeah. Just to give it, it's all going to be blurred towards the end of it, so it won't be too too detailed, but it helps like actually set the space. So
Jenna wants to know if your kids are aware of what you're working on so hard.
Nope. 2-year-old doesn't care about anything other than food, which bless her. And the 5-year-old doesn't even know his name right now, so. Much more concentrated on Thomas.
Oh, that's so fun, though. So that actually brings me to an interesting question. I know a lot of artists work with music or they need silence. What do you do in terms of that soundtrack while you are working? Is it like kids shows? Do you have music? Do you work in silence? What does it look like for you?
If I really need to buckle down and get work done, I throw on some music, and that just depends on what kind of mood I'm in. If I'm kind of more just trying to get some work done while also just kind of like relaxing at the same time, I'll throw on a something on Netflix or whatnot. Lately, I've been binging The Office, and I'm like halfway through it now. So,
okay, can I tell you a fun fact?
Yes.
I live in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Are you serious?
Yep. My cousin
That's amazing.
My cousin owns an escape room in the building with the Electric City sign on it.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
I actually, for my author life, a couple of months ago, I went around Scranton and took pictures of me and my books in the different locations from the Office series.
That is fantastic.
I know, right? They actually used to come here every year and film like a couple scenes in Scranton, so it's kind of interesting back in the day. Another fun fact, I didn't actually watch the show until this year. I'm actually in the process of moving, and I'm like, I don't do comedy. This is not really going to be my type of show, but I have to watch it before I leave Scranton. So I started watching it. It took me a little bit to get into it, but now I love it.
There's so much show. I didn't realize how much show there was for it.
They did it for quite a few years. So I have to ask, now that we're talking about it, who's your favorite character?
Jim? Are you kidding me? Jim.
Good. Now we can be friends. I like that. I'm 100% here for Jim and Pam's relationship. Like, the others are nice, but I'm 100% here for Jim and Pam.
Yep. Although Dwight he really makes me laugh, like cackle and like ungodly noises sometimes, but
he is entertaining. Now, do you listen to the Office Ladies podcast?
No.
So you know Jenna and Angela have a podcast, right?
I did not.
Okay, it's called Office Ladies. They put out every week one episode of the podcast, and in that episode, they go through one of the episodes of The Office, and they actually break down behind the scenes. They tell us what was happening when they were filming. They give us behind the scenes stories. They tell us how they became friends. Like, it's a very detailed look at each and every episode inside of the Office series. So if you're binge watching the series, you can also listen to their commentary after you watch the episode or before, and you learn things about the series from their commentary, and it's really fun to listen to.
I will have to look that up.
Yeah. See the fun things we're learning today as we're drawing. I really like what you're doing with the shadows and highlights there. That looks really cool.
My hands are so shaky, my lord.
That's what happens. It's okay. It's an art thing. Once you start doing it too much, it's just the way it goes, I think. So let me ask you this. If you could draw any one office character into Defects, who would you put in?
Oh, God. For sake of just like awkward comedy, probably Toby, because he just got crapped on so much.
That's hilarious. Oh, I love it. I feel like, I don't know if you've seen it. Now I sound like I'm like on top of pop culture. I am not. But John Krasinski, who plays Jim, has just started a new YouTube series called
Some Good News. Yes, I love him so much.
I feel like
we don't deserve John.
We don't. I feel like, though, you should kind of draw them in your setting and just send it in and see if he'll put it into one of his episodes.
Just have like him on in the background, one of my scenes.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's exactly what you should do. And I know I actually just watched his most recent episode this morning while I was doing my makeup, and I saw that he was showing off fan art. So I mean, if you do it, like, we could probably sneak that in there. I've got my connections. We'll just see what we can do.
Oh. Okay. Here comes the fun part of all the lighting with my peoples. Let me save this because Lord knows.
Yeah, please save it. I design book covers on air every single week for my author life, and all my book fans come and watch me make book covers. And in an hour, I create an entire book cover, and as I'm sitting there talking to them and explaining the tools I'm using and like going through the process, I always forget to save it, and my fans have to actively remind me every so often to save it so that I don't lose it, because that has happened before. So are these highlights that you're adding now?
I do several layers of types of highlight. So the base layer of the highlight is just where the light would be touching, since the light's coming in from behind them, which is backlighting is my favorite lighting to do. So it's not really too much of a highlight. It's just enough to have like a little bit of like color bounce on them.
Mm-hmm. Now, is that on a clipped layer so that it's only affecting like them and their clothes, or is that everything?
I still have not figured out how to do clip layers. So what I do is I go to like, I'm using the base shadow layer, and I just go to layer, create selection from layer. Because I have yet to figure out how to do actual like clipped layers.
Okay. Well, I could explain it to you in Photoshop, but I can't help you in your program. I'm a big fan of those clip layers, though, when I'm working, because when you are using a clipping mask layer, that clips it to the layer directly below it, so it only affects that layer. So if you're doing something, it only paints it on or changes that particular layer beneath it. And then if it's something you don't like, it's a non-destructive layer, so you can actually take it back off, which I love. Thank goodness for non-destructive layers. So at this point, you're kind of adding in light typically along like the top of them, so like shoulders and knees and arms, the top of your kitty's belly there. And I'm just explaining highlights at this point. But, I'm like, I don't know what else to talk about. We're going to talk about highlights at this point. But I like how you are kind of touching in on the different fabrics and the different things that you've got going on here. So anytime you see a line, you are adding in shadow and highlight so that you can kind of give it that depth. Do you find you do, obviously because you do a lot of glowy art, do you do a lot of highlighting and shadow work?
I, not saying more is more, but I find that the more layers I have, I can control it a little bit better. So I try and keep from having so many layers, because most of my layers go to my lighting.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Jenna's in the comments saying she loves The Office. Us too. We'll have an author conversation about The Office one of these days. Oh, goodness. This is so much fun, and we would love to hear from you guys. Jump back into our chat box and let us know what art questions you have. We're working on the glowy, lovely light within this amazing image. Where Mush's characters are hanging out during quarantine. We are here stuck in quarantine. I hope that you are enjoying all of these live broadcasts we are doing on Toon Ladies to keep you guys entertained while we are all in lockdown. We hope you all are staying safe and healthy as well. But if you've got those questions, we would love to get those answered for you right now over in the comments below. And make sure if you're joining us live that you also hit that share button. Make sure you are giving us a like, leave us some comment love, not just in the chat box, but like the actual video, because that helps YouTube to then show this to more fabulous people. And if you've been paying attention, we have developed some new fun connections, and we are showing off for some people. So the more you give us comment love, the better it's going to look, and the more I get to do fun things for you guys, which, believe me, we've got some really cool stuff planned for the next couple of months, like Disney animator Philo Barnhart is joining us. He created Disney's Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast, The Rescuers Down Under, Secret of Nim. He worked on Star Trek. He was in Mary Poppins. He's going to be joining us at the end of April. And then at the end of May, we actually got the producer from The Swan Princess. He is coming to talk all about the movie. And I haven't told anyone but my amazing Discord, so you guys are the first to hear this. I mentioned this to some of my friends who happen to be cosplayers, and one of them was actually contacted recently by the Swan Princess team, and they sent her Odette's dress to model for them, and she will be joining us on air in costume for a few minutes at the end of May for that episode with the producer of the Swan Princess. We got all sorts of good things happening for you, and the more comments you leave us, the more I get to do for you in the future. All right, let's check back in with Mush. We're getting some really pretty highlights on hair right now. Can you explain to me what you're doing in terms of hair for her? Is this the same highlight you're creating, or do you pick different colors for that?
It's the same color.
Wow.
Okay. I use it for everything. Right now I'm going in like the harsher highlight, and it won't stay this bright. I play with the opacity of it, but for now it's where like the light hits her the most.
Gotcha. That makes sense. I think some of your Swamp people have found us. We're getting some fun comments, it looks like.
Oh Lord, guys, behave.
Caitlin would like to know, how long does it usually take to highlight a drawing? For her, it takes forever.
Depends. I know for something like this, like just a one-off thing, it'll probably take me most of the time that it takes to do the actual drawing. But for doing like panels, whatnot, once I get like one panel done and I have like the process of how I want to do that lighting, it goes by really fast.
That makes sense. TM Sharky Nerd says she is loving this. Hey girl, thanks for joining. Appreciate you being here. Guys, if you've got questions, now's a great time to drop those from us in our comment box and in our video. We want to hear from you. We want to make sure that we are getting all of your questions answered. So if you've got questions, now is the time. Emma says she will not behave. That's okay, Emma. We'll just moderate you. It's all good. Oh, goodness. All right. So taking a look at what you are doing, what's going to be your next step with this when you're done with your highlights?
Going in for the details with the eyes and then probably the redness of the skin. I tend to add, like, not blush, but it looks like a little bit of blush to, like, their face and their fingers, just to make it look like they actually have blood flowing through them and they're not just cold beings.
Always a good thing.
And then probably some extra little details that I do for, like, lighting effects, like light dust and all that jazz.
Yeah, I noticed you put a lot of that dust within your imagery, which is something I actually do in my photograph work as well. So talk to me about why you do that and how that works for you.
I don't really have like a specific reason as to why I do it, other than I just really like how it looks. But it just kind of adds to like a little bit of a magical effect, I guess. And even if I'm not drawing like magical stuff, I still like my stuff to look somewhat kind of magical. And I feel like it's at this point I've done it so much, it's kind of become like a signature kind of look.
Oh, absolutely. I would absolutely agree with that. I know you do a lot of bokeh. You've got a lot of those dust particles, which is something, again, that I implement into my photographic art. So I'm very much drawn toward your artwork because I see a lot of similarities with that. And I feel like it really adds a lot to the atmosphere of an image. And it does, of course, add that magically look to it. Jenna wants to know, what is your all-time favorite part of the drawing process?
Probably the lighting. I would say sketching, but sketching, if my brain will function and like concentrate on it, it's usually my favorite. But as of late, it's not working, so it is not my favorite child right now.
Well, I mean, that could be
probably the lighting.
Yeah, I adore your lighting. I am a big fan of lighting in creation and in artwork and all those fun things. So I was probably going to have thoughts for you if you didn't say the lighting, especially within your particular artwork. All right, so it looks like we are adding in some light to our cute little cat toy here. And do you find when you're working with thin things within your drawing, like the little string that you're working with now, that it's a little bit harder to handle those shadows and highlights, or does that kind of work out the same for you for everything?
It works about the same. Just change, like zoom. That's why I work on a huge canvas whenever I do, so I can zoom in as much as possible and then shrink down my brushes to what I need them to be.
Emma wants to know, what's the hardest outfit that you've ever drawn?
Hardest outfit. I don't really know. Most of the time I don't say hardest things to draw, usually just most time consuming, because if I put enough effort into it, I can do it. Probably the most time consuming is that little pink cardigan that Ellie's been wearing since they got to Ruston.
Okay.
It's a brush. I already have the brush, make it a little bit easier, but I always have to like go back and remember, did you put the knit look? Did you put the knit look? No, you didn't. You need to redo it.
That's so funny. Tam Sharky Nerd wants to know the most time-consuming scene that you've ever drawn.
I don't have an exact one, but probably one with at least 5 or 6 characters in it, because it takes so long to do each one of them. I think the one I can think of off the top of my head is them sitting in Odessa's office on the couch getting briefed for their job that they're on right now.
So that actually brings me to an interesting question. I've had this conversation with a lot of Webtoon artists recently. Do you typically have like maybe basic body shapes or facial things that you just kind of tweak a little bit and reuse within your art, or do you draw them fresh every single time for every single panel?
Fresh. I do everything freshly. Yeah. That's probably why it takes me 70 hours a week.
Yeah. But you do use SketchUp, which works for your background, and then you can just pop those in there. So that saves a little time. Jenna wants to know, of your completed panels, what are you most proud of?
I think the one I'm most proud of is the ones with Ellie's hair glowing, because I'm still just, yes. I figured out how to make hair glow and not look silly. So there's that, and then actually a panel in this chapter that I spent 2 hours on last night. Just the one panel that people will look at for maybe a split second, but it was beautiful, and I'm so excited for y'all to see it tonight.
That's so exciting. We always love that. And if you are someone who does want to learn about how she makes her hair all glowy, she actually put a tutorial over on her Instagram page. You can go check that out and kind of get a cool little behind the scenes look. I'm like scrolling through it to see if I can like actually pop that on. Nope, that did not go the way I had anticipated. So we kind of see the basic structure for that. So you can actually check that out over on Mush's Instagram page if you want a closer look at how that is actually working as we're showing off all the fun glowy hair on your Instagram page there. Let's see. Well, we've got some concern for some of your characters in the next episode. They're hoping that people are all surviving this, so we're not going to do any spoilers, but guys, make sure you were checking out that next episode. TM Sharky Nerd says she struggles with hair for sure. So any tips on creating hair?
Like I said, I do my hair really simply and just use cell shading for the most part, the heavy duty stuff. For hair, make sure it has like a flow to it. When you do your ends, taper them off. She's not really the best. Like taper them off like you would see your actual hair. I think of it as, I think the way I learned how to do hair was whenever you go to cut hair and it's wet and how you clump it together sometimes, how that makes like kind of stringy effects. It's really complicated. It makes no sense to anyone but myself, but that's how I figured out how to do hair.
That's so
because I used to have like just like Polly Pocket like stuck on hair.
That's so funny. I love looking at the older art that you have. So you've actually got your new stuff and your older stuff, and the transition between what you used to do and what you do now is really rather remarkable.
Yeah.
How long of a process was that for you? I know you jumped in and you kind of learned what you were doing digitally within a year and a half. So is that basically the from point A to point B for you?
For digital stuff, yeah. But I've been drawing like characters and stuff like this since I was young, but they didn't look nearly like this at all. They were kind of really, in my terms, kind of janky for our word for the day. But yeah, digital wise, it's only been like a year and a half.
That's so interesting. Now, did you create these characters specifically for this story, or were these kind of bouncing around in your head before? Had you drawn them before you considered writing?
Nope, specifically for Defects. Ellie, however, is like a mashup and like transformation of like an old OC from like Naruto or something. But she's been changed so much that she's just kind of her own self now.
So now, what made you decide to actually create your own comic? Was it that you wanted to show off your artwork? Was it that you had the story that you had to tell? And in addition to that, Jenna wants to know, is this your first webcomic project?
It is my first webcomic project. I originally found webtoons in general when I found Winter Woods and I binged it. And then I saw that they were holding like that contest. And I was like, you know what? Sure. I like doing this. This could be fun. I didn't care necessarily about the contest itself, but I just really wanted to get back into drawing again because it's just one thing that just made me so happy. So the contest came and went, and I was like, this is still fun. I've written a lot. Let's just keep going. So here we are, a year and a half later, all of this, That's seasons so planned out.
And only in a year and a half, that's pretty dang good. And you've amassed quite a following over on Webtoon as well. I know a lot of people have been asking how you actually manage to get so much work done inside of your work week. So any productivity tips or tricks here?
Schedule. Like I said, my schedule is not the healthiest, so do not copy my schedule. Find one that works for you. But definitely make sure you have time, schedule out your time to actually work. I think something that really helped me when I first started was I would schedule Monday mornings were my writing days, to where Monday morning I would write at least one chapter and then go to draw. But I think the most time efficient way to do it is get your entire chapter sketched out and then go through and do what you need to do. Because used to, I would sketch it out, finish that panel, go to the next panel and sketch it out and do it, and it just was a hot mess. But yeah, scheduling, especially depending if this isn't your only job as well, that's going to be a big thing on your scheduling part. You need to be able to like make sure you're not dying on the inside while also working two jobs.
No, I hear that. Scheduling is so incredibly important, and I actually find that I get more done when I do schedule it. So when I schedule my day, and I actually recently put out a podcast episode about how I do this, I write down like almost minute for minute what I'm doing. I know how long I'm allowed to be working on this project, how long I'm allowed to be working on this project, and because I have those time constraints and those limits set in stone there, I have to get things done faster, and that prompts me to work a little bit harder. But if you want more information on how I do it, there's a podcast episode over on socialmediaforbosses.com. You can go check that out over there. But scheduling is so dang important, especially when you're dealing with things other than just your drawing. Ooh, you're adding in more light. Tell me about it.
I do this sometimes when I need a little extra light bounces. I use the radial gradient, that's a word, radial gradient tool. Just kind of add in some extra little more organic, God, it sounds so bougie, organic lighting. I do this, and then when I have a look that I like, I will go back to, I'm on my multiply layer, and I'll go through and select the parts that it's not actually on, and then delete the excess so the light just stays on them.
That makes a lot of sense. I'm just like quietly watching over here. DM Sharky Nerd says, do you ever still draw with old school paper and pencils?
Rarely I'll doodle something, but I will never give up my Control Z, and you cannot make me.
Amen, though. No, I get that. I was talking with May Rothschild of Brimstone and Roses during our first live stream drawing session, and we were talking about keyboard shortcuts. So do you have a favorite keyboard shortcut other than Control Z? Because we know.
Control T, I transform a lot of things because I have really poor depth perception, especially when I do like their eyes, like when you're sketching and doing their eyes. Yeah, just kind of have to adjust. So thank God that we have that power with digital.
Yeah, I love digital. Digital saves me. It really does. It's amazing. Talk to me about what you're doing with the eyes right here, because you've got that initial coloring down, but then it looks like you're adding like a color gradient to that for the coloring, which is not something I assumed people would tell me about this.
Yeah, so for my eyes, when I first started doing the comic, I had regular eyes, like pupils and stuff, but like I said, my eyes are kind of wonky. So I could never get the pupils centered to where it looks like they're actually looking where they're supposed to be looking. So I got rid of them all together and added gradients to them instead to give them like a glow effect. So I just add a gradient, add glow, and that's how I get their eyes.
Huh. That's
very... And I've really grown to adore the look of pupilless.
I like it. I don't think I had actually like gone in closely on your images, but that's really cool. Huh. The things you pick up, friends, the things you pick up. If you've got more questions, we are getting toward the end of our drawing, so now's the great time to get those into our chat box. We'd love to get those answered for you as we are continuing with our drawing. Let's talk about catch lights. I'm a huge fan of catch lights within eyes. So tell me what you're doing for yours.
Here, let's do this. Usually I just put not the whitest white possible, unless we're like just out in the daylight, but something like, oh Lord, something like this. I'll put like 3 shades off white, and then let me show you a trick that makes everything just pop. Go back to the favorite color, that favorite beautiful vermilion pale, on a separate layer. Go over that. Set that layer to add glow. And then you blur that. Not that much. Good Lord, that's extreme. So it actually has, so even your catch light on your eyes has like a glow to it.
That's
bouncing off the light.
Wow. That's really neat.
These are all things I just picked up when I'm just fooling around in Clip Studio.
That's so funny. It's interesting because I usually don't have to worry too much about catch lights in the photography world. Like, I enhance them, but I hadn't thought about making them glowy. I might have to try that in my photographic life because that could be actually very interesting to see. And friends, if you want to learn more about the color that Mush chooses for her glowy work, we are talking about it tomorrow in our newsletter. You can go to newsletter.toonladies.com, get yourself signed up. We've got an exclusive 10-question interview, which was a very hard word for me to say right there. A 10-question interview with Mush, where she's answering all sorts of great questions about defects and about her writing and about her art. We are giving away the prettiest, swooniest, most lovely wallpaper tomorrow. And you can only get it inside of the Toon Ladies newsletter. So you can hit up newsletter.toonladies.com. We're also bringing you breaking Toon World news, and stuff has been happening this week. You don't want to miss out on that. Plus, we are talking all about things that happened this past week and events coming up in the next couple of weeks that you do not want to miss, like our time with Disney animator Philo Barnhart and Swan Princess producer Selden Young, as well as some really cool Webtoon authors. We're going to be hanging out with May Rothschild. We've got Miranda Munt of Muted. We've got Mush is coming back in a couple of weeks to talk all about defects. We've got Jenna A. of Enjoy the Show. This coming Sunday, we are going to be hanging out with Anne and Marissa of The Shadow Prophet. We've got all sorts of great people coming to hang out with us in the next couple of weeks. So make sure you are joining us here on the YouTube page. If you have not hit the subscribe and notification bell, make sure you are doing that right now so you don't miss out on all the fun. We've actually got a really cool video on Toon Boyfriends coming out later on today. And we're hanging out live on Instagram Live at 3 p.m. Eastern. And we're inviting you to come on air with us. We can talk about tunes. We can talk about your webcomics. We can talk about life in general. You're welcome to come join me on air for a couple of minutes. We're going to hang out for an hour and have a great conversation today at 3 p.m. Eastern if you want to join us. All right, Mush, what are we working on now?
More lighting. Because there's never enough.
Lighting is good. I like it's the zoom in right here, just that light coming between his hand and his arm and his chin. That's really pretty. And Kitty's getting a little more light here. Lots of love in the comments for what we are seeing. Guys, let us know of this drawing. What is your absolute favorite part? Let us know. And if you can hear that, I apologize. My dogs would like to come out. So now, within Clip Studio, what is your favorite tool to use?
Oh, Lord. Probably some of the brushes, maybe. It's not really in Clip Studio, but it's attached to Clip Studio. The asset store is where you can download all kinds of brushes that other creators have made.
Ooh.
I go in there for, it's like kind of like when you go shopping or grocery shopping. You go in there for one thing and you come out with like everything else but the one thing you went in for.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Because a lot of it is just free. There are some things that are paid, which I have paid a hefty amount because some things are just fantastic. But yeah, you go and you find all kinds of different brushes. All of my like special effect lighting brushes have been found there, other than like a few that I've had to make myself because I couldn't find what I wanted. But for the most part, it's just one of those things where you get lost for hours.
I'm a huge fan of building my own brushes in Photoshop. So do you like creating your own brushes, or is that more of a task that you have to do?
I like it, but if I can find it elsewhere, by all means, and save me some time. But I do enjoy once I finally figure out how to actually make them.
Is it fairly easy to make them in Clip Studio?
It is. It just takes a little bit of a process to figure out what button does what, and like the grayscale and all that is where I get confused sometimes.
See, I feel like just from what I'm hearing, it's a little bit easier in Photoshop. Pretty straightforward for us. You just have to make sure you have the right colors on the right layer. Jenna says Clip Studio Assets is a deep, dark rabbit hole, and she could spend hours there looking for asset brushes.
Yep. I have asset brushes for things I will never even need or use, but I really like them.
You get it while you can, and then maybe in like 2 years you can use it for like one teeny tiny thing. But you get it when you can.
Yep, I have like a beautiful asset brush for feathers. I have feathers absolutely nowhere in my comic, but I loved it.
Okay, but you realize she's like wearing a goose suit right now, so like maybe your Instagram stories needs an appearance from that later today.
Maybe.
See, I'm gonna convince you to do all sorts of fun things, like pull out the feather brush and let's do something. It'll be fun. All right, friends, if you've got questions or comments, get in our chat box right now. We would love to get those answered for you. We are in quarantine creative mode. We are clearly bootstrapping it today, so we appreciate you working with us. Next time you see us, I will be back in my normal office setting, which I'm quite excited about. But I hope that you are enjoying our bootstrapping version of this today, as we're broadcasting from cell phones in weird locations. Always fun, right? So right now you seem to be adding in more shadows. So what you do with your process is do your shadows, then your highlights, and then add in more shadows where needed?
Yep. I can never tell where I need actual shadows to begin with in a piece until I actually start like laying and lighting.
Yeah. Do you do it on the same layer, or is this a secondary layer?
It's another layer. Okay. I'm at like 30 layers right now.
I make my images with like hundreds of layers, so I'm okay with that. 30 is not too terrible for me. All right, friends, if you've got questions, if you've got comments, we would love to hear from you. Now's the time to get them in there, and make sure you're bringing your friends to the party. We want you to snap a photo of the screen, preferably while I'm not chatting, and put that out over on social media. Make sure you are tagging us in that so that we know that you are here watching. If you're on your phone, snap it right on your phone. And if you are on a computer, grab your phone and take a picture of your computer. If you can take it of you watching, we love it even more. And we'll reshare you over on our Instagram stories so that we let people know you were here hanging out with us as one of the cool kids. And we would love to hear from you guys. What is your favorite part of these live drawing sessions that we are doing here at Toon Ladies? What do you absolutely love about these? And get in my comments. Let me know, who would you like to see come on the show and draw on air for us? We're doing our best to get these amazing authors and artists on the show to show you the behind the scenes of their webcomics. So let me know who you want to see, what story they write, and why you want to see them, because when I reach out to them, I'm probably going to drop your name. I'm just saying. All right, what are we working on now? More shading on the background, it looks like?
Yeah. Try and push it back a little bit before I blur it. Oh, that'll work. Okay. And then we go through and... Is this here? Yeah, okay. We will merge the background. Merge. And then we will do the magical art that is... blurring it. Hang on real quick. Let me go ahead and copy this layer just in case I mess up. Okay, do this. Filter, blur, and just kind of play with the opacity, or strength, I should say. Just to push it in the back.
Now, during our last live drawing episode, I was chatting with May of Brimstone and Roses, and I asked her a question that I want to ask to everybody who does come to hang out with us for our live drawings. I'm a big fan of blend modes inside of Photoshop, which I know you guys have similar things too. It's like the color dodge and the multiply and the soft light, things like that. So which is your favorite blend mode to use within your imagery?
We actually have a separate thing for blend mode. We actually have a brush that's just strictly blending. So I actually don't use it that much though, because it makes everything muddled, but I just use blur for the most part. when I do things by hand. Crap. What was your question? I am so sorry. I'm in the blend. My brain. I'm trying.
Okay. So, I know you've got different blend modes in terms of like how your layers interact with other layers around them. These are things like soft light or multiply or divide.
Oh, okay. Yeah. My lord. My brain just completely blanked on that. Yeah, Glow Dodge. Glow Dodge is my baby.
Okay.
I have not been able to find Glow Dodge in any other program.
I was going to say that's not in Photoshop. So, like, what does that do
Nope.
specifically?
It kind of mixes add glow and overlay together. So when you, let's see, I'll do this as an example. So add glow just makes it bright, but when you glow dodge, it knocks it down a little bit to where it mixes in like an overlay instead.
Oh.
So it's not just like a bright, blinding kind of light. It makes it more saturated. That's the word I'm looking for. It saturates your glow a little bit better.
Interesting. See, we don't have glow in Photoshop, so like you keep throwing around the glow word, and I'm like, really, this is a neat feature. Yeah, we're getting great suggestions for people you would like to see on the show. Keep up those suggestions. I'm going to check them afterwards, and I'm really excited to see who you guys want to be hanging out with. So let me know in the chat box over there. And I love that you kind of have the ability to do all this really cool glowy stuff right inside of Clip Studio. I'm just like watching your highlights right now. Talk to me about how you do your highlights and your shadows on faces, because I know there are specific places where that's actually going to work and not work. And specifically, I'm like watching how you're doing noses. So what does that look like usually?
I don't have very detailed noses, so the detail usually comes in highlight and shadow. That's where I put, because without it, it's just two lines. So usually the shadows underneath the nose, depending on the lighting, usually anyway, and then just a little bit of highlight to have a whisper, you would say, of like where the nose is actually at. And I do a lot of bounce lighting, to where even if it's in the shadow itself, it still has a little bit of light reflecting off of everything else.
I like to study light and how it bounces off of things. That's my photographer life right here. But I think it's really important to implement that into art as well, because I've noticed a lot of people, especially just starting out, don't really think about that light theory. So I like that you represent it within your artwork and that you're kind of implementing that and adding it into what you're doing right now. Now I see as you're creating this, the light is definitely going outside of your lines. What do you do with that after?
I go back to my figure layer, select out of it, to where it's not selecting the actual characters. Oh god, what layer am I on? Oh no, where is it at? Oh boy.
Wow.
There it is, this one. Right? Nope. Nope.
Okay, so I'm just going to give a shout out.
Found it. There we go.
I talked about this the other day. You are not labeling your layers. This is what happens, and this is how I live my life, because I never label my layers. It takes me forever to find what I'm looking for.
Yep. I found it. But I will select outside of it and then just go to that layer and delete. And it keeps it all where it's supposed to be.
Nice. And see, this is where the clipping mask would come into play as well. If you had that right over those layers, you could just clip it to it and it would take away anything on the outside.
Still haven't figured out clipping layers though, so work with this for now.
We're going to YouTube that one for you later.
Probably.
So now as you're continuing this, as you're looking through it, what else do you want to do to finish this up? Like, what else is standing out to you in terms of things that you need to do?
Probably more, not shadows, but something on the faces or something, because he's looking a bit flat in his face, so I need to fix that. That can probably just be added with a shadow, like, in his eye socket, honestly. This is why lighting always takes me forever, because I'll go back and forth on what I want to do, what looks good, and then I'll get to the point where it's like, I don't even care anymore. And it still turns out good for people to look at, but I'm just like, it's stupid. No, that's not how it's supposed to be.
That's so funny. Jenna's in the comments saying she doesn't label layers either. Yeah, I think it's the mark of people who are concentrating on their work. They just don't think to layer things or label things, and they don't think to save things either. And I feel like
I'm really bad about not saving. Ooh.
Yeah, I am too.
I lost an entire day's worth of work, about 14 panels, because I forgot to save, and my daughter turned off my computer.
Wow. So I was talking to May the other day when she was doing her live, and she said that she has hers programmed, and she uses Clip Studio, I believe. She has hers programmed to autosave every couple of minutes.
Yeah, I had that, but because my file is so large that I draw on, it crashes.
Oh. Ugh.
So instead, my lovely husband got a power block to where even if my computer's unplugged, it'll stay on for 3 minutes in time for me to save before it shuts off.
We kept having really bad weather, and the power kept going off while I was working, which fried all of my external hard drives. So I've got one of those as well. It is the best thing that I can recommend to people who are in our line of work because it saves you so much. So much. Highly recommend. And if you need the name, I was actually had this conversation with an author friend of mine because she was experiencing the same thing. It would disappear and take half her manuscript with her, which is a very bad thing. So we were talking about brands. I do have a good one I recommend. I don't remember it off the top of my head, and because I'm not in my office, I can't tell you what it is, but if you are someone who would like information on that, happy to get that to you. Go ahead and DM me at Toon Ladies on any social media platforms, and I will get that information to you. It's actually pretty cheap to invest in.
Yeah, I think ours was $50. It really wasn't that bad for just hours of saved work.
Yeah, it's great. And then when the power goes out, it's wonderful. Or if something happens, if you bump something, it's worth it. It is so worth it. Whatever the price is, it would be worth it. But it's actually pretty cheap to get. Now I love that your toolbar is just kind of there on your screen. Do you have that popped out intentionally? Because I know in Photoshop you can either have it popped out like that, or you can have it built into the system so it's off to the side. Is that something that you get to choose, or is that just the way it is in Clip Studio?
I know you can show it and not. It drives me nuts not being able to see where I'm at, though, so I leave it there.
That's funny. See, it drives me nuts when it's in my way, so I have mine attached to the side. It's like a side column so that it's out of my way, and when I accidentally pull it out, I can't function. I have to put it back in. It drives me nuts. But it's interesting to see how different artists function doing different things in different ways. So guys, if you are artists, let us know. Do you like your toolbar popped out or along the side of your program? So right now you are adding that detail shadow into his face along his neck. Tell us what you're thinking.
Just to add a little bit more depth because his face was just really flat for some reason. So I'll probably go in and do a little bit of the touch up here too with her. This right here is a bit aggressive. No. Nope. Yes.
Jenna says, ain't nobody got time for labeling layers. Which is, nope. True until you have to find a layer, and then ain't nobody got time to go through all the layers to find the layer you need. I'm just saying.
That's fair. That's very fair.
It really comes down to I have to fight on myself on this because I don't remember to label my layers. I just don't do it. But then it takes me so much time, and I have to go through hundreds of layers to find what I need and turn things on and off, and it just does it make more sense to stop and take the time to layer and remember to do that? Or do I want to spend my time searching for them when I can't find them? It's a problem. Caitlin is like me. She prefers to have her toolbar on the side and out of the way. Yep, I get you, girl. I get you, girl.
Okay. And then I think we'll add one more thing, and then we might be done.
Exciting. So what are we adding?
some more light particles in front of them, and then we'll just kind of adjust, though. Yeah. Because I live for light particles.
Now, is this a particle brush that you're working with?
Yeah, this one is, well, the one I just used is called Dust of Light.
Ooh.
It's just little, it looks like little specks of like glitter or something. But I set it to overlay so it's not quite as like blaring in your face, but it's just enough to give it something extra. I'm trying to decide if I really want to keep that or not. Warm. I like the warm. The warm's nice. Knock it down a little bit though. There we go.
So when it comes to brushes for Clip Studio, can you use brushes from other programs? This is me learning to see if I can get my Photoshop brushes.
So Clip Studio uses SUT brushes. You cannot, if you have like a Photoshop brush, you can't use the exact Photoshop brush. But what you can do is make your own your own SUT brush by taking. I'm not sure how you make them with Photoshop. But I know exactly for our brushes, you take the shape of the pen or the end of it, and you just make your own with it for, what is this? Clip Studio. My word, today is just...
Yeah, in Photoshop, you create a square, so it has to be a square, and then your black versus white indicates where the shape is going to be. So you design whatever the shape is, and then you just export it as a brush. So it kind of sounds like somewhat similar to that. I feel like if I needed my Photoshop brushes, I could probably make the image, and we've lost her. Tech issues. We made it for quite a bit without it being a problem. My timer's off. I don't know what's happening right now. Mush, if you're still here, refresh. But in Photoshop, you would be able to create that object and then transfer it over to Clip Studio. So I am just going to DM her and see if we can get her back in. We're going to give it just a minute. And we're going to see how that is going to go for us. If she does not return in just a moment, we are going to wrap this up. You did see the majority of this image, and you will be able to see, of course, the full image over on Mush's social media and her Discord. You guys can hang out with that as well. And I'm just stalling to see if she is going to be joining us again. Mush, I don't have you here. Just FYI, if you are coming back in. We do apologize for all the tech issues today. Quarantine has made the internet a hard place to work. But we do hope that you are enjoying some of these fantastic things that we are doing here on Toon Ladies platform. We are going live on Instagram at 3 p.m. Eastern. That is just under 2 hours from now. And you're all welcome to join us while we are live on air. I welcome you, whether you're a fan or a comic artist who wants to come on and promote your show. We're talking tunes, we're answering questions, we're chatting in general, and I would love for you to come join me over on Instagram at Toon Ladies on Instagram in just under 2 hours. Now, tomorrow we are dropping the newsletter with Mush's interview and the exclusive wallpaper that you can only get on the Toon Ladies platform, newsletter.toonladies.com. And we are also going to... Oh, she's trying to get back in. Beautiful. She's trying to get back in. We'll see. I'm going to keep stalling. We are doing all sorts of fun things inside of the newsletter. I hope you guys will come join us because in the upcoming weeks, we're dropping breaking Toon World news. We are doing exclusive interviews with characters and authors. We're giving you exclusive swag every single episode and introducing you to some brand new comics you should definitely be checking out. As I'm writing back to her. And we do have the author of The Shadow Prophet, Anne and Marissa, coming on the show this Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern. We'll be answering all of your questions about their dystopian tale, The Shadow Prophet. And then the following week, we are going to be hanging out with Disney animator Philo Barnhart. We are going to be hanging out with author Miranda Munt of Muted. We are going to be hanging out with some really cool people, and Mush is back. Hello, friend.
My lord, I apologize.
It's a tech issue kind of day, but we're glad that you are back and ready to go. So tell us, how are we finishing us up?
I've done lost my train of thought here trying to do that. Leo's still not looking quite settled in, but other than putting him down a little bit more, I think it may be done.
Fantastic. So we're adding in those last shadows to Leo. And we're just checking to make sure everything looks good. If you've got last minute questions, guys, drop them in. But now is a great time to start thanking Mush for her time. We are going to be here for another minute or two because we got to let everybody know all the good information as trees are falling outside of my house. But now's a great time to start thanking Mush for all of her hard work. Jenna wants to know, the hardest part is knowing when to stop. Well, not a question, that was a statement.
You know what? But it's completely true.
Yes. No, I know. I feel you. I feel you. Sometimes, though, you just have to call it quits and move forward. We were having that conversation with somebody the other day. At this point, I've had so many people on the show, I'm losing track of who said what. So now is a great time to go ahead and start dropping in those love notes for Mush in the comments right now. We would love to shout you out on air while we are wrapping this up and finishing up the last of the shadows and highlights. And I like that now that we're zoomed in, we get getting a good look at that that light debris right there. That's really pretty.
Okay. One more thing, because I'm always extra. Let's do. Nope, that is not what it is. Okay. It'll take me a minute to find it, but.
Jenna can't wait for tonight's new episode.
I'm so excited. It's so pretty. There's so much light. So much friggin' light.
I'm really disappointed that I'm not caught up because I've heard really interesting things about what's coming in tonight's episode, and I just kind of want to. Maybe I'll cheat. Maybe I'll just cheat and just like scroll through and see the pretty light.
There you are. I have so many things downloaded. It's not even funny. Let's try this one. Let's move this up.
Maddie says, it looks amazing. I love your artwork. It's been amazing reading your comic and enjoying every single second. Been so excited for tonight.
I'll just be glad when I get back on a weekly schedule. Okay. I think that's about as good as it's going to get, because if I don't stop, I'll overdo it.
No, I get that. That looks fantastic. I love, love, love your art process. Any last minute thoughts for people who are jumping into the art world on how they can get this look?
A lot of tutorials. I know, okay, so for my lighting, I didn't just start and jump into it. I, actually, some of my friends on Instagram, Alba, who is Callus Dice, her lighting is just mesmerizing, and I started like learning from her tutorials and just asking her questions, and I got like the basis of how she does it, and then I just kind of took it from there and did my own thing. Same thing with like Mayu Arts. Her lighting is also like, her lighting effects anyway are gorgeous. So if you have like artists that you admire for like their lighting or like just their techniques in general, how they do things, don't be afraid to ask them. I'm sure they're more than willing to tell you. Because I'm the same way. Like, I had to learn somehow. If you need to learn how to do something, just ask. Keep doing it. Even draw every day, even if it's just like a little circle. It doesn't matter, honestly, because the more you do it, the more your hands will get used to like the motions, to where you don't even have to look at your hands anymore to draw anything like I do. Time management, and finding your style, I guess. You can take bits and pieces that you like from other artists, mash them together and tweak them, and then grow from there. That's what I've done, kind of. But yeah, just you have to. I know it's like a slap, like a good high five while you're drowning, but like you don't stop. It's so oversaid, but it's never understood, apparently.
That's a great way to put it. That's a great way to put it. Can you go ahead and flip your camera around so we can see you and say goodbye? And while we are doing that, where can everybody find you on social media to connect?
Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter are all MushMello Comics. I think actually Facebook is just MushMello, but you can find me either way. That's all my social that I pay attention to. And then Webtoons, of course, for Defects. But other than that, I'm just kind of in those 3 places, other than Discord, because I never leave Discord.
Always in Discord.
And you can find that link in the bio of any of my social accounts. And if the link doesn't work, just message me. I'll give you a new link. Not a big deal.
Fantastic. Well, Mush, thank you so much for hanging out with us today, creating this amazing piece of art. We've had so much fun and learned so dang much. We do want to remind everybody, you will be featured in the Toon Ladies newsletter tomorrow, newsletter.toonladies.com, with an exclusive interview and with an exclusive wallpaper you can't get anywhere else. And in a couple of weeks, Mush is coming back for her own episode of the Toon Ladies Talk Show. We're going to be talking all about defects. And if you did not get enough Mush today, you can actually hang out here on our YouTube page, because she was recently hanging out with us for our virtual con and an episode of the Toon Ladies Talk Show where we hung out with canvas creators. So there are multiple ways to see more videos of Mush here on the Toon Ladies platform. Make sure you hit that subscribe notification bell and then watch them all, and then leave lots and lots of love in the comments for Mush of all of those videos. People are loving on your hair today.
Thanks. I washed it.
We appreciate you primping for us.
I did what I can where I can.
Yes. So we will be hanging out with you again soon. We cannot wait to have you back. We've actually got some fun things that are not on the books yet, but we're working on getting scheduled that I can't wait to tell you guys about. It's going to be lots and lots of fun. So make sure you go hit Mush up over on social media, and we will see you guys again soon. Thanks.